Welcome to Rise and Learn English. If you clicked on this video, you are likely feeling a specific kind of pain. It is the pain of silence. You know the words. You understand the grammar. When you read a book, you feel smart. When you listen to a podcast, you feel competent. But the moment you open your mouth to speak, the connection breaks. The words that were so clear in your mind disappear. You stutter. You hesitate. You feel like a beginner, even though you have been studying for years. Today, we are going to fix this. We are not going to fix it with more vocabulary lists. We are not going to fix it with more grammar textbooks. We are going to fix it by understanding the real reason you are struggling. Most people think they can't speak because they don't know enough English. I am here to tell you that is false. You do not have a knowledge problem. You have a bridge problem. Let us look at the anatomy of your struggle. In your brain, there are two distinct areas for language. There is Wernicke's area, which handles understanding. This is your input library. Every time you read or listen, you are stocking this library with books. Your library is huge. You have thousands of words stored there. Then there is Broca's area. This handles speech production. This is your muscle. For most students, the library is massive, but the muscle is weak. You have spent 90% of your time reading and listening and only 10% of your time speaking. You are like a person who reads books about weightlifting, but never actually goes to the gym. You understand the theory of lifting weights, but your muscles are small. The real reason you struggle is a phenomenon called passive competence. You have trained your brain to be a receiver, not a transmitter. When you listen to English, your brain is relaxing. It is recognizing patterns. It says, "Oh yes, I know that word." But recognizing a word is easy. Retrieving a word from nothing and pronouncing it in real time is hard. It requires a completely different neural pathway. When you try to speak, you are asking your brain to switch from passive recognition to active recall instantly, and your brain panics because it hasn't practiced this specific movement. So, how do we fix it fast? We need to stop studying and start training. We need to build the bridge between the library and the muscle. The first technique is called the 3-second rule. One of the biggest reasons you struggle is the editor in your head. When you want to speak, you pause. You check the grammar. You translate from your native language. You worry about the accent. By the time you are ready to speak, 5 seconds have passed. The moment is gone. The conversation has moved on. You stay silent. The 3-second rule destroys the editor. Here is how it works. When you have a thought in English, you must speak it within 3 seconds. Do not check the grammar. Do not check the pronunciation. Just push it out. It might be wrong. It might be broken. That does not matter. The goal is speed, not perfection. You are training your brain to bypass the anxiety filter. Practice this alone first. Look at a lamp. Say, lamp. Don't think about it. Look at the window. Say window. Then move to sentences. I am hungry. It is cold. By forcing speed, you prevent your brain from entering translation mode. You force it to rely on instinct. The second technique is the island method. Many students struggle because they try to be fluent in everything at once. They want to be able to talk about politics, cooking, travel, and philosophy immediately. This is overwhelming. Instead, build islands of fluency. Pick one topic that you talk about often. Maybe it is your job. Write down the 5 most common questions people ask you about your job. Now write down the answers. Perfect these answers. Practice them until you can say them in your sleep. Now you have an island. When the conversation touches your job, you are safe, you are fluent, you are confident. Then build another island. Maybe movies. Learn how to describe your favorite movie perfectly. Over time, you build more islands. Eventually, the islands connect and you have a continent of fluency. Do not try to boil the ocean. Just build one island at a time. The third technique is active imitation, also known as the Parrot Method. When you listen to a podcast, you are usually nodding along. Yes, I understand. This is passive. To fix your speaking, you must become aggressive. You need to physically copy the speaker, but do not just copy the words, copy the music. English has a melody. It goes up and down. It speeds up and slows down. If a native speaker says, "What are you doing?" they often pronounce it as "what you doing." If you try to say, "What are you doing?" like a robot, your brain has to work harder. It feels unnatural. But if you learn the chunk "what you doing," it flows. It is one sound. Spend 10 minutes a day listening to 1 minute of audio. Repeat that 1 minute 20 times. By the 20th time, your mouth muscles will memorize the movement. You are not thinking about grammar. You are relying on muscle memory, just like a dancer relies on their legs. Now let us address the psychological barrier, the perfection trap. You struggle because you are terrified of making mistakes. You think a mistake is a sign of stupidity. You think a mistake means you are a bad student. We need to reframe this immediately. In language learning, a mistake is not a failure. It is data. When a baby learns to walk, they fall down. Do you look at the baby and say, "You are failing? You are terrible at walking"? No. You know that falling is how they learn balance. Every time you make a grammar mistake, your brain gets feedback. "Oh, that sounded wrong." That is valuable data. If you stay silent to avoid mistakes, you are starving your brain of data. You are refusing to learn. You must be willing to sound foolish in the short term to become eloquent in the long term. Embrace the messy middle. The next fix is narrating your life. You do not need a conversation partner to practice speaking. You have a life. Narrate it. As you walk to the kitchen, say out loud, "I am walking to the kitchen. I am opening the fridge. I am looking for milk. Oh, we are out of milk." Why does this work? Because it connects your physical reality to English words without the pressure of a social situation. You are safe. Nobody is judging you. But your neurons are firing. You are retrieving words. You are forming syntax. If you do this for 20 minutes a day, you are getting more speaking practice than you would in a 1-hour class with 10 other students. You are turning your daily routine into a language lab. Let's talk about filler words. This is a secret of fluent speakers. When you struggle to find a word, you probably go silent. Or you make a sound from your native language. This silence kills your confidence. It makes you panic. Native speakers use filler words to buy time. Words like, "you know," "basically," "actually." Well, let me think. Learn these words. They are your safety net. If you forget a word, don't stop. Say, "Well, let me think about how to say this." That sentence gives you 3 seconds to find the word. But you are still speaking English. You are still in the flow. It signals to the listener that you are still in control. It keeps the rhythm alive. Finally, we must talk about consistency versus intensity. Many of you try to fix your English by studying for 5 hours on a Sunday. Then you do nothing for the rest of the week. This is useless. The brain does not learn this way. The brain learns through spaced repetition. It is better to speak for 10 minutes every day than for 5 hours once a week. You need to keep the pathway open. If you don't speak for a week, the weeds grow back on the path. You have to clear it again. If you speak every day, the path stays clear. It becomes a highway. Make a pact with yourself. I will speak English out loud for 10 minutes every day, even if I am just talking to my cat. The struggle you feel is real. It is frustrating, but it is not permanent. You are not bad at languages. You just have a weak muscle. And muscles can be built. It takes time. It takes reps. But if you stop treating English like a subject to be studied and start treating it like a sport to be played, the struggle will end. The bridge will be built. Start today. Pick an object in your room. Say its name. Narrate your next action. Shadow the next sentence you hear. The library in your head is full. It is time to open the doors and let the words out. You have a voice. Use it.